Hello, so in this last video of algebra, before we move on to doing equation stuff, I want to look at a few more, basic things with you guys, so you have, a more firm understanding of this algebra topic in general. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is expanding brackets, because you will see so many brackets, I'm not even kidding. So you need to be able to know how to manipulate them and work with them. So if I have something like this, okay? So in this case, I have 3 times 4x plus 5. Okay, that's inside brackets. Okay, what does the 3 times mean? Now, if you think back to what we did when we did our numbers, multiplying essentially just means repeated addition, right? So 3 times bracket 4x plus 5 just means I have 3 of the 4x plus 5 added together. Okay, so it's 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5. Now, normally, when we do algebra, very similar to how between 4 and x here, it's assumed that it's 4 times x. We often don't write out our multiplication sign, right? For, again, reasons that I said before. We have so many of it that we just can't be bothered writing it out. And also we may get confused with, multiply and x looks very similar. So this here, conventionally, right, we don't really write them. So we don't write this. Don't write this. Okay. So you may ask then, what does it end up looking like? Well, what it end up looking like generally, this the 3 times 4x plus 5 here would end up looking like this: 3 with the bracket 4x plus 5. Right, so I'm just taking away the multiply sign, and then I'm just leaving the 3 in the bracket just like that. Okay, so these two are the same thing, they are equivalent, right? So 3 times 3 bracket, same thing. Okay, let's get that straight. Okay, cool. So back to this. So repeated addition 3 times. Now, because all of these are pretty much just addition, I can pretty much just drop the bracket, and I can just go 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 5, right? Now, if you remember back to last video, when I have a long expression like this, I can simplify them by looking for like terms, right? So terms that are that have the same pronumerals. So in this case, my x, right, have the same pronumerals. So let me underline my like terms. So x, 4x, 4x, 4x. They don't necessarily have the same coefficient. In this case, they just happen to have the same coefficient. But as long as they have the same pronumerals, we're good. Okay. And my other ones are my 5s, right? So 5 plus 5 plus 5. So these are my 2 terms. So I can add all my like terms together. So what do I end up with? Well, I can say 4x plus 4x plus 4x is, well, I start with 4, add another 4 gives me 8, add another 4 gives me 12. So that becomes 12x. And then 5 plus 5 plus 5 gives me a total of 15. Right. So this expression here, 3 bracket 4x plus 5, right, is equivalent to, or is the same as 12x plus 15. Okay. Now, this expression here, 12x plus 15, right, has 2 terms. Okay, the 12x and the 15. The 12x is a normal term where we've seen before, right, because it has a number and a pronumeral. Now, the 15, right, doesn't have a pronumeral. Now, in maths, we have a term for this, right? So we call this 15 here a constant, right? Now, what does a constant mean? Well, a constant simply just means it's a number with no variable or no pronumeral attached to it. So yeah, it's essentially just a number, right? So that's what we call a constant. Now, when we do this, right, when we have a look at 3 times 4x plus 5 and I get 12x plus 15, if you look at it closely, it's very similar to me just doing 3 times 4x, right, plus 3 times 5, right? Because again, order of operation, I do my multiply first. So if I do this, I do 3 times 4x, which gives me 3 times 4 is 12x plus 3 times 5, 15. Whoa, it's the same expression, right? They're equivalent. Okay, cool. So when I'm expanding brackets, I don't have to, the good news for you, I don't have to write out my brackets all my brackets every single time, right? Because that'll be a pain in the butt. Because yeah, then that'll be so long and it'll be so annoying, right? So what I can do instead is I know straight away that if I have a number in front of the bracket, I can just multiply them, but I don't just multiply them once, right? Oh, well, I multiply them once, but I don't just multiply one of them. I have to multiply all of my terms inside. So in this case, I have two terms, right? I have the 4x and the 5 inside my brackets. I have the 3 in front. The 3 has to multiply all of the terms inside the bracket. So 3 times 4x, right, gives me 12x, and 3 times 5 gives me 15, right? So that's kind of a shortcut into how we can expand a bracket, okay? Let's put this into use. This is an example right here. So I have 3b times 4a. Now, you might be tempted to just go 2 times 3b and then 2 times 4a. Not quite how that works, right? Why? Because if you think about it, this here really is only one term, right? Because I have a multiply in the middle. So I can rewrite this, simplify this, right, further slightly by saying this is the same as 2 times, well, remember when I multiply my algebraic expression, I just not multiply it normally. So 3 times 4 gives me 12, and then b times a gives me ba, right? Okay, now you can see how it's only one term, right? So it's one term with the variable ba. Okay, and then this is when I can go, all right, I'm just going to multiply my one term. So it becomes 2 times 12, which gives me 24 ba. Okay, excuse me. Right, so again, when I'm expanding bracket, I have to multiply each term by the number in front. In this case, it's 2 times 12 ba, which gives me 24 ba. Now, there's many ways I can write this as well, right? So I can generate equivalent expression. Again, equivalent expression, same expression. So another way I can write 24 ba would be something like 13ab plus 11ab, right? So 13 plus 11 gives me 24, and then I have my, again, like terms, right? So numerals are the same, ab. Also remember, ab and ba are equivalent because I can switch them around, it doesn't really matter. So this is another way of writing 24ba, right? Not the most simplified way, but definitely another way. I can also write it as, if I really want to, ab plus ab plus blah 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 plus ab plus ab. So if I have 24 ab's in total, so 24 of these in total, then you know that will be the same thing as 24 ab or 24 ba, right? Because I have 24 terms, again, multiplication, repeat addition, okay? And yeah, as you may have guessed, I can also write this as 24 ab instead of va. So all of these, right, we call them equivalent expression, right? So equivalent expression. They are not most simplified, right? Only the most simplified 24ba or 24ab. The rest of these are equivalent, they're the same, but they're not simplified. Okay, cool. Okay, now, in red, make sure you remember when expanding bracket, make sure you multiply each term. Let's put that into practice here. So let's go 4 bracket 2a plus ab plus 3. So what do? Well, I have my number in front. I have, in this case here, let's have a look at my pronumerals. I have 3 different terms, right? So 2a is one term, ab is another term, and 3 is another term because they're separated by the plus. So I can go, well, multiply by one term, multiply by second term, and multiply by the third term, okay? So what do I end up getting? Well, 4 times 2 gives me 8, and I have a left. I have 4 times ab gives me 4ab, and I have 4 times 3, which gives me 12. That's it, right? That's that's simplified because I can't add 8a and 4ab together. They're different. So this is the most simplified. And again, the 12 here, right? That's my constant. Okay, because it has no pronumerals next to it. Okay, great. Now, it's all well and good that we can manipulate it, expression, that we can form expression. Now, let's try to use it for something, right? It's just basic use. One of the things we can do with expression is to substitute it, or substitute numbers into it. Well, what do I mean by substitution or substituting number into it? Well, essentially, I'm replacing my pronumeral or my symbols or my letters with some numbers, to get some kind of value out of it. Okay, so for example, me being a science teacher and a maths teacher, I know exactly. I don't, but in this case, I know how fast my car is going, say my car speed, right? So for example, the speed of my car is described by this expression here, 10 plus 4t, okay? And the t here just represents some time, okay? Now, my question is, what's the speed of my car after 8 seconds? So what do? Well, all I have to do is I just have to go, well, my expression is 10 plus 4t. And I know that t is equal to 8. So what I have to do is I have to go, okay, if t equals 8, right? So if t equals 8, then I get 10 plus 4 times 8. Remember, there's a times in between here. So then I can go, well, that's equivalent to 10 plus 32, because 8 times 2 is 32, which is equal to 42 in total. So what's my speed? 42. In this case, it might be kilometers an hour, okay? Last example, let's have a look at this. Evaluate. Now, I've used it so many times. So evaluate just means to find the answer to, right? So in this case, AC minus BC, and I'm giving you the values of A is equal to -2, B equals to 5, and C equals to -7, and I'm just wanting to know what does that expression equal to. What do? Well, just substitute or just replace my letters with the number that I'm being given, right? So in this case, I have -2, right? That's my A. C is -7, minus B is 5, and C is again -7, right? Now, I can write it this way, or if you really want, I can also write it in terms of bigger brackets. So I can do -2 times -7, right? AC, minus BC is 5 times -7. Now, both of these two are the same, they're equivalent, right? So I go, okay, -2 times -7 gives me 14, right? Because negative times negative gives me positive. 2 times 7 gives me 14. So I get positive 14 minus, and then inside this bracket here, I have 5 times -7. Remember, when I have just one negative, it becomes a negative answer. And then 5 times 7 gives me 35. Okay? So then I get 14 minus 35. And if you remember, minus gives you a plus. So 14 plus 35 is equal to 49. Okay, so this is a bit harder, on the harder side, because it requires you to understand your knowledge of negative numbers. But essentially what we're doing is we're just plugging in numbers, right? We just say A equals -2, blah, blah, blah. And then what does that end up equaling in the end? Now, very, 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 very important that I don't want you to make this mistake. When I have AB, right? So in this case, it's AC. But if I have AB, it is not equal to -2 times. It's equal to -2 times 5, not -25 or -25, right? Please, please, please don't make this mistake. I don't want to see you go, all right, AB, therefore that's -25. It's not, right? Remember, there's a multiplier in between it. So -2 times 5 is -10, not -25, okay? Same thing with this one. 3B, that's 3 times 5, not 35. Okay, so 3B is 3 times 5, which is 15, not 35. Okay, don't want to see that mistake. Hopefully, that clears up a few misunderstanding. But that's pretty much the end of our algebra topic. I'll see you guys in the next video for equations. See you then. Bye bye.